Good evening. This is the Athens City Shade Tree Commission meeting for December the 10th, 2015. There are no tree permits or right-of-way issues. We do have two Title 37 landscape ordinance issues. So I'd like a representative from RVC to come up to the podium and introduce themselves and tell us about the developments that they're proposing.
Morning. Well, evening. If you don't mind, we'll start with the Parfait Cycle Warehouse.
Okay.
Brought additional copies here.
Yes, please. Yeah.
And so our goal, we looked at permeable surface and the impermeable surface. And when we did the permeable surface, we included the dense area of vegetation behind the building as well, and came up with a requirement of 30 trees. We then hoped that we could count some of that vegetation as part of the shade tree at a rate going with the theory that if we're looking at 30 by 30 for a large tree, that we could count one tree per that space, and came up with the idea that we need at least 7 additional trees. And so we've got 7 trees shown in the upper portion of the plan there, and we have sugar maples and white oaks. We've got 3 sugar maple and then 4 white oak.
How close are these trees to the impermeable surface?
How close are they?
Yeah.
Well, the one is fairly close. They're along the edge of the vegetation there. So,
Because to count for the ones on the
say the farthest is maybe 28 feet.
How high is this? A 2-story structure?
No, it's just a 1-story.
Okay. How high is it?
Check and see if we've got that. The proposed height is 31 feet.
To the ridge.
Okay, so it is equivalent then to a 2-story building in terms of how we...
big pole building.
Yeah, because the way that the ordinance is written, for a single-story building or just a parking lot, we count trees within 8 feet of the edge of the impermeable surface. For 2 stories and above, we go out to... I'm just trying to find the number. I think... where's it gone? I think it's 20 feet we go out to for that one.
And we have enough space that if we need to move those trees in to be 20 feet, we could.
The ordinance calls for those to be planted within 15 to 20 feet from a building of more than 1 story, and I think we would try and count this one as more than 1 story because you don't want trees too close to that size building. I think.
I believe we've got 4 that we were looking to plant that may be out of that range, but we could bring them in so that would be the 2 sugar maple and the 2 white oak. We could push those in closer to the building and try to keep them within 15 to 20 feet.
What is the area of the impermeable surface?
The impermeable surface?
13,000.
13,000.
In our calculation, the impermeable requires 9 trees.
Yeah, and so what we'd be looking for is to try and get 9 trees within 20 feet of that impermeable surface, or if there were holes in it, to plant within. In spaces of 240 square feet.
So
we can do it.
So you'd prefer that we plant two, right now we've got 7, so if we
Yeah.
added 2 more,
Yes.
either white oak or sugar maple,
Yeah.
that'd be fine, and then try to move them closer
Yes.
into the building.
Yep.
Okay.
I have a question about your selection of trees. Unless you have excellent soil that is reasonably moist, the sugar maple is not going to do as well as you would want. The red maple or the Freeman hybrid maple would be better choices, I believe.
I'm sure it's
Could
moist.
Could we just switch all of them to maybe white oak
Well,
and do 9, or do you prefer?
white oak, I don't think is very widely on the market. It's extremely slow to grow. Now, we've had very good success with the swamp white oak as a street tree. But I don't think that the true white oak is very widely available for planting.
Okay. So you
What-
suggest switching to you said the red?
The red maple or the
Or the-
Asaphri Freemanii is the other one. But the thing to do is to work with a landscaper who knows what they have got available. We can only make suggestions as to what we think may do better there, but they would need to look at the ground and really. I think all Emily's trying to do is just warn you that sugar maples need a good site to do well in.
And if they were okay with switching to that, you'd be
We
fine with that?
we don't prescribe species. Or
Okay.
we have a planting list. You can take anything off that planting
Alright.
list and do what you want with it. We try and avoid getting into precise requirements. We're more than willing, as you can tell, to discuss our favourite trees and recommendations and so on. But it's not our place to go telling you what to plant exactly. Other than that, they must be large shade trees.
Okay. And rather than 7, you
We
want
need
to
9.
see 9. Okay.
Yeah.
And we would like trees that will do well in the site.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. And then we're going to make the assumption that there are enough trees on the permeable surface based on their report of the coverage that the 40% requirement is going to be met in that area.
It's fairly dense,
Yeah.
and so
We'll accept that.
Yeah, I think that's an area of larger trees behind
Yeah.
there. Right, yeah.
Are there any other concerns you've got that we should be aware of? Screening for dumpsters and
No,
other
that's
bits and-
in there.
Okay.
My only concern was not to get too close to the parking area, because I know this is a warehousing for delivery of ATVs and motorcycles, so we're going to have some rather large trucks going in and out of there.
Yeah.
So give them a little maneuverability room, otherwise they get knocked over.
And that's coming in on the south side, right? That's
Yeah,
where the
there's
loading-
there's loading zones.
Yeah, so there's,
Yeah.
our intent was not to plant trees on that side and
Right.
just make it
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
a little easier.
Yeah, you may have opportunities on the west side. What are your plans to do on the Columbus Road side? Because we can give you permission to plant trees that are required for your landscape in the right of way, if that would help you.
That would be up to Andy. I know the utilities, I'm almost sure, are on that side of the road, and where they're exactly located, I couldn't tell you.
Well, on his drawing, he shows a 12-inch storm and
Yeah,
an
they did
8-inch
do that.
sanitary.
You can see where they're at on there.
Yeah, yeah. So I think they'd be on the roadside of any trees that might be. But anyway, that is certainly an option that you've got available.
Okay.
Because we are definitely trying to put more trees along Columbus Road if we can.
And provided, like you said, with the utilities, we want to make sure that.
Yeah, if you put 2 in front of the building and then pull the other ones a little closer to your parking area, I think that would probably work pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I think we're done. Any other questions at all? Okay, good, good.
Shall we look at the...
We can now look at the other property, which you've given us for tonight.
Present. Colin knows it a little bit better.
I'm Colin. So this is the new Donwood Ford Lincoln dealership on Outer East State Street.
Do you have any additional copies of this one?
Oh, sure, yeah. So the total site area is about 31.7 acres. Now, the vast majority of that is within the floodway and zoned as open space. We calculated the impermeable surface as about 188,000 square feet, and the permeable is about 585 square feet, for a total calculation of 456 trees required for the overall site. We base our calculations for this site were similar to the Parfit in that we have an additional. These might be helpful too. That's just using an aerial photo. The planted area, and as you see, there's quite a bit of area that we didn't include that has different levels of vegetation. And so based on that area and using the similar 30 by 30 area, we came up with 547 total trees would be calculated for that area. That area is calculates to about 11.3 acres of the 31. So based on that, we feel we're over the requirements.
Well, the concern we've got is that, as I was describing before, for these larger lots, we break them into the impermeable and the permeable surface, and for trees to count towards the impermeable, they need to be within a certain distance. In the case of parking lots, within 8 feet of the edge of the parking lot, and so we're going to run into some issues here, because I suspect as a car dealership, there are some problems about
owner's not too excited about having a lot of trees near his inventory.
Okay. So we may have to delay complete consideration of this one for tonight, because I think we're going to have to think seriously about a variance on this one, and as to what that should be. I'm not sure. Do you have any trees at all, or any locations where you think you could put trees along the perimeter?
It's a limited site due to the highway barrier on one side, and then obviously the floodway on the other side.
Yeah.
There is a potential along the northwest. As you can see on the first page, the property line designated by the PL, and we're sloping down from our paved edge.
Yep.
So there's an area along there. As we get closer to East State Street, the owner, obviously visibility, this is a difficult site for that reason as well.
Yeah.
He would like to limit any kind of impact on visibility.
Yeah, but that so what's the slope there?
It's about a 2-to-1.
Okay. Yeah, so that is plantable with small if
Small,
if you start them small,
yes,
they will tolerate,
and they will help stabilize that as well.
So that may be an area where we can think about trees. What about on the southeast side?
So essentially, especially as you go towards the southeast, that edge is really defined by the floodway barrier, the floodway line. So everything south of that paved edge, is essentially within the floodway.
I think in that area there, even though you're outside of the Lomar, as long as you stay up on the plateau before you get to the drop-off, I think it would be okay to put trees in that location right there. I don't think that's an issue.
And the other question I've got, I seem to remember this site coming up before, the neighbouring site that is on the east side. It's noted as existing automotive business. Is there a possibility of trees being planted between your two properties at all?
It's currently paved, their site.
Yes, that was what I'm curious
to
know whether you're willing to plant trees on your side, because that that whole area is one that's not particularly attractive because of the fact it's all just hard
We have
scale.
fencing proposed there to create some kind of border. One of the issues obviously they're having is Ford has requirements in terms of the number of inventory you're required to keep on site, and there's certain space. And because this site has very limited space outside of floodway or floodplain, we are kind of bound in by that, and that area in particular would be kind of prime real estate for that. And again, anything planted there would be adjacent to inventory. So
Okay, okay, I understand. Yeah, so I think if this is, as long as this isn't going to be a major obstacle in moving these forward, I think we will be able to come to an agreement on what to do.
I know they need to be under construction by the first of the year. They're working on their state permits now. They've received all their Title 41 permitting through us. So, I mean, we'll be taking a gamble stretching it in the next January. But I agree. I think something can be worked out.
Yeah.
So.
The one thing that we may be able to do, but I'd like to let the tree commissioners think about this, as this is the first time they've seen this. But one possibility is where a business cannot have the trees in their area for whatever reasons, there is an option under the ordinance for you to purchase trees to be planted elsewhere in the city. We've never had anything of this scale where that's happened. I mean, it's normally a handful of trees that people are trying to plant because in the centre of town there is no place to plant, and there are no options. But that really is, I think, the most extreme variance that we would be able to offer in this one. And as Ron Lucas isn't here, I'm not going to quote what the price is, but Ron Lucas is the person who knows what the price is.
And I just want to throw out to you, they are bound by their perimeter, because on the kind of the south to the southwest, there is a ODOT swale that actually comes through there now that they're actually looking to go over top of a little bit. So there's probably 60-inch round culvert pipe running through there for the stream drainage of the catch basin. You probably see them in this area that are in the middle of the median of the freeway. And they all come down right there, and then they go into that swale that comes underneath of their proposed parking lot. And then also on the long Route 50 in the median, I know when I met with David Ingram earlier, ODOT actually asked them to pull their parking back so that there was more of you got their hillside coming down, and then from their parking lot they want a swale created there. And if you remember, you talked about Autotech, but I do remember them one of the things they were concerned about was trees close to their fence line for people hopping over because they lock their fences that they tow into that back lot at night.
Yeah.
So
well, it sounds like there isn't a possibility if they're storing inventory there that it makes sense that would not be one that.
You have an estimate of how many trees would be we're talking about?
It's 100. I think I just worked the number out. Actually, I think on this. I think it was 123.
124 if you're looking at impermeable.
Yeah,
surface space, what we have calculated there.
Yeah. So that's a large number of trees.
Possibility to put trees, I know we've considered this on past projects, to put them closer than the 30 feet.
Yes. Yeah.
The medium one, maybe.
What we can do to help is the basic requirement is 30 feet simply because we want the canopy to actually develop. Again, if there are site constraints, that is another way that we can get more trees into a site or get that site closer to compliance by planting the trees there, rather than have you purchase trees to be planted elsewhere.
In addition to the straight south of the area to the more western side of the site, there is a plateau there that is at similar levels, and we've applied for a LOMR because of the overall redesign of the floodway maps. It's been rejected at this point until that the new proposed map is accepted. Then we could potentially apply again. So there is another area there that is elevated that could be another plantable area. Again, it would be within floodway and open space, but.
Okay.
Is there a minimum tree size requirement? And maybe they can work with Soil and Water Conservation District to do a sapling planting in that area, something to that effect.
There is no requirement on the size of trees.
That's okay.
It's just the number of trees.
Well,
as long
that's
as
what I'm
they're
saying,
large
with the
trees. In
sapling
fact,
program, I mean, because we all know 125 trees at $400 a piece adds up quite a bit. So
oh
that's what-
yeah. Now there's if they want to plant small trees in that area, then that would be one way of doing it. But no, the trees. Ron Lucas has a price that the city
Sure, yeah.
uses for this, and I'm not going to quote anything at the moment because I really don't remember what that number is. But that I think may be the solution, certainly for part of this 123 tree requirement. But I think we're going to have to sit down and look at this in more detail over the next week.
Okay.
And try and work out something with you. I take it you'll be available if we want to talk, because again, this is something that we've done before. We've either gone to an architect's office or you've come to a city office, and we sit down and we try and work out the details. Because doing negotiations like this or trying to figure out where things can go is very, very difficult.
Sure.
So I think we can sort of provisionally give you approval. We can see a way through this, but we need to resolve exactly what that is.
Sure.
Is there anything else, John, on this one that we need to be aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. Yeah, I presume the dumpsters and all the rest of it are taken care of on this one as well. Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave full approval of this one to our January meeting, but I fully expect that we should be able to come to an agreement before then, and then we'll just be dotting the I's and crossing the T's at that point. Have you got any questions for us?
I don't think so at this point.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Now I've got to try and find my agenda. There we are. It's emerged. The next item is a report by Ron Lucas. The two items there, he has submitted the Tree City USA report, and Ann Bonner has asked for a little bit of additional information. That email came today. Hopefully he can provide that, or we can provide it collectively. There were some photographs requested and so on. The fall planting, I've attached to the bottom of the agenda for you to see the sites that Ron is planning to plant this year, along with the species that he's ordered for these sites. So hopefully all that will get done fairly quickly.
Glad to see the trees along Richland Avenue. 11 trees being planted there.
Yep. And it's a good diverse selection of trees we've got there. Some of those trees will be replacing trees that are taken down, but as you've noted, Richland Avenue is taking the bulk of the trees. Ann Bonner sent an email to me. I'm not sure if she copied it to anybody else who's here today, but she's referring to some trees that are planted along the bike path, and I think this is along East State Street. The name Quiddle didn't mean anything to me, but I think when I looked it up, I realised it was a business that's going out along East State Street. Does that name mean anything to you, John?
What's the name of it?
Quidel.
Quidel. That's the old McBee building.
Okay, yes.
DHI. That's their new name, DHI.
Yeah. Okay, right. So that's the area, and I need to get with Ron and find out if he's going to be able to take these stakes away from these trees, or whether we just need to have a volunteer afternoon and go out and do it ourselves. What happened in that area, if I remember rightly, is trees were planted in groups of 3 or 4, and that this was done at least 5 or 6 years ago. So they must have done well enough that they're beginning to strangle themselves. So, maintenance of the tree canopy. I had a request from an owner of 23 acres off Columbus Road. He was concerned about trees that he wanted to plant into an area that occasionally gets flooded. He's already got sycamores growing there. I recommended bald cypress and willows. Emily has just made a suggestion of pin oak, sweet gum, and American elm, so I will convey those to him. I don't know if anybody else has thought of anything else that we can do, but this is a problem we often come across where we've got areas that are liable to be flooded at times, and you need to be careful about picking the species that will grow in those areas. We need to think about planning for fall planting for next and future years. Nancy Walker, one of our commissioners, who's unfortunately unable to be with us this evening, has suggested we try and follow some fairly standard guidelines, but I wasn't aware of them, about how to assess the quality, if you like, of a potential tree site. And this is something that I think we need to talk with Ron about as to exactly how we should proceed with that. But it really requires us to have a more longer-term plan for planting trees in the city. We have many sites, and I think the approach would be that we take that big list of sites and begin to start doing some of this assessment. It seemed to be a fairly simple series of tests that you need to do in terms of how busy is the road, are there cars parked alongside, what's the speed of the vehicles, and things like this. It would help sort of qualify the site for different types of trees and so on. So that's something that I think we should be doing for next year.
I had a request from someone who lives on Tulane for another tree along there. That's the street that has a stream running down the center. And there are quite a bit of trees, especially small trees along there, but it's up toward the end, away from East State Street. There's some areas that are more open.
Yeah. So this would be close to the stream, you think, in that central
Yes.
area?
In the median.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll make. Well, if it's not on the list of potential sites, we need to add it certainly. Anything else that we're thinking about? If not, we have the minutes of the last meeting.
Under Texas Roadhouse, which variance did we grant them? Fewer trees or
They were supposed to plant some trees in some areas that were cut out from the pavement, as I remember.
Yes, yes, and it was to do. They were going to be moved away from the building so that they would form an aisle, essentially, along the centre, which at the time Ron Lucas thought might be an improvement in terms of safety, to provide something to slow down traffic that's sort of crossing, tends to cross at that point.
And I think that's still a possibility someday after speaking with them. Just don't know where. I mean, as we all know, the farmers market's looking to move potentially. And when they do, we've done a study. There is enough room for another outbuilding to go where the farmers market currently sets up. And I think it's their plan, and I can't speak for them, but if they were to do another building, then do the planning to make everything uniform at that time. But with the farmers market in there and in the crowd, they were just concerned about it at this time. So
Yeah. No, it was raised at the last meeting as to what was going on. That's why it's been on. It's on the minutes of this last meeting.
Okay, well, otherwise I would approve the minutes.
Thank you, David.
I second.
Thank you, Emily. Are there any objections to approving the minutes? Hearing none, we have minutes of our last meeting. Our next meeting will be next year, January 14th. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.